well, it's going to be worth it, I promise you. But you don't want to hear from me, so we are going to get our people on stage. Please help me welcome Tim Downie, Samantha Béart, and Amelia Tyler. Greetings, you guys. Welcome.
Hello. Hello? Hello, hello.
Hello. Is this thing on?
I can't tell. Is yours on? I don't know. Is mine on?
You guys can hear everybody, right?
You don't get one.
How do I make it work? Hello?
I think you'll turn down a little bit.
There we go.
Turned me down. That's
Turn down the
rude.
narrator. There will be hell to pay. All right, you'll have to yell, I think.
So before the show, a lot of you guys submitted some questions for this group. So we're going to go ahead and start with some of those. And then after we wrap that up, we will open it up for you guys. Come to one of these microphones and ask your own questions. So starting off, this will be for all three of you. Which part of your character's story and or personality was your favorite to explore, and which part was the most challenging?
Oh, right. Favorite to explore, he likes books and magic and weird stuff. So I very much got behind that.
Yeah.
Thinking, yeah, I can do this, because I live in a place which is very similar to this. So yes, this is great. Apart from the winged cat and magic, the most challenging were for me the romance scenes, because I was not told about them. And so I started this whole thing just kind of like going, do, yep, wizard, a little bit of magic. Okay, I got this. This is okay. I'm getting the vibe of this. And then literally I came in on a Wednesday, and they said, so we're going to do some romance scenes. I went, okay, like what? Sort of like I love yous and stuff? No. What do you mean no? Oh. Come and have a look at this. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I was at that, okay. And then, so that was like 4 hours on a Wednesday morning. And I think, right, great, that's done. I then had to do it twice more, because they just added bits. So in total, 12 hours of romance scenes, having never even thought that this would even be a thing. It was emotional.
So Gale, though.
It was really Gale.
So extra with it.
I was going to say that the Scott Joseph, the Emperor, did not expect romance scenes either.
There you go. There you go.
He wasn't told either.
That really should have been on the email.
I would think they would mention it.
You think that would be a thing?
Oh, video games.
Oh.
Yeah, it's to be a thing. Yeah, so for me, solving problems with violence. That was fun. Yeah. Vigilantes never get it wrong. And I think, to be slightly serious, her gullibility I thought was quite hard to play myself. I like to think I'm a bit smarter. But that's kind of why she's got into the mess she's got into, because once she's ride or die for people, and once she's committed, it doesn't really matter how much evidence she has, dark urge. Once she's decided, she's all in. So that's where you get, that's so sweet and fucked up. But, she's all in. She's committed now to Dark Urge. She's totally behind them.
Is this actually as loud as yours or not? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's better. Hi. Applauding a functioning microphone. We love it. My favorite was all the Dark Urge stuff. That was... an interesting acting exercise in just letting go, and I can absolutely tell the moments that my friends start playing Dark Urge, because I get really weird DMs like, I didn't know. I always wondered, but I didn't know. The hardest bit, I think, was like the really super wholesome paladin lines, just because I had to like infuse that with something that didn't involve me going, but then we hurt people, right? And then vengeance. Oh, okay, no, we're being nice. Yeah, so that.
Okay. So,
What did that one say?
well, you kind of already answered this one, but we'll ask it anyway.
Do it.
So have some fun with it.
Go on.
What were the hardest lines to get through performing, both emotionally and from laughing? From laughing.
Emotionally from laughing.
You're known as a corpser, aren't you?
I'm known as a massive corpse. I love a good laugh, me. I was always trying to say, we can make this funny, surely. On pretty much anything. Like, oh, there's a load of children that have been massacred. And I was very much on the thing going, oh, well, can't be helped. Anyway, off we go. And I thought,
Do you know what? I
that's
feel that's
fun.
more of an Astarian kind of line,
but
isn't it?
I thought, yeah, that'd be
Throw it
really
away.
good, yeah. Because everyone's going to be expecting, oh, Gail's going to really, this is going to break him. And then go, oh, God. Anyway, what's for tea? I thought that would be quite fun.
Yeah, that's appropriate.
Fun to play. And I found I really enjoyed doing Dark Gale because you could then really just ratchet it up and kind of think, okay, we can really go with this. This is great. So that was great fun. And the hardest bits were I joked about romance, but it's when it becomes very, very personal, the romance scenes. They become the hardest because you've got to find the truth, you have to find it within yourself, be it a past or a thing, to make it resonate, or otherwise you're just saying lines. So that was difficult, because you're in a room on your own. It's not like you're doing it in front of somebody else where you can bounce off and kind of create that atmosphere in the middle. You have to go into your own head. And I think I've said before, you do feel like a 5-year-old in your back garden with a stick as a wand. But you have to find those moments and find those pictures and places. And sometimes that can be difficult and troubling, but ultimately you're doing it for the truth and for stories. So that's why you do it.
For me, I have never fluffed a line in my entire career. There's no proof that I've ever done an outtake. And there definitely aren't more of those coming. The laughter happened a lot. And I think that's testament to just what an idiot I am and what an idiot the directors were with me, which is great. By the end, it was pretty clear that the writers were just messing with me. You can't, with a straight face, right, hang on, I'm going to try and do this without laughing. He's coiled like a spring, hand inching towards his weapon. Now, come on. That's right, yeah. So they're doing it to mess with me at that point, and I was fine with it. The serious ones, maybe not emotionally, but anything with 4 apostrophes in it is a blight upon mankind and should be banned.
Yeah, I'm not a giggler, so I have to change one of the answers. Gortash stuff, maybe that was difficult. Only technically in that, the tears were genuine, and I thought, we've only got so much gas in the tank, and let's enunciate. So they get this. We can't do this 3 or 4 times. It's not going to happen. So that was challenging, I suppose, but not emotionally or anything. That was something I'd been waiting to do for a long time. And then, I guess, fun. Let's go fun rather than giggly. There are some new endings coming, and if mine hasn't been cut, because I don't know, if mine hasn't been cut, there's a really fun chew the wallpaper off the walls kind of evil ending coming. So I've enjoyed doing a bit of evil Karlak.
So this next one here, what was the difference between working on this game during the pandemic and post-pandemic?
For me, there was no difference whatsoever. I did not see another human face throughout the entire production. I was at my home recording studio. That was it. I'd just go in, and I'd come out, and my partner would go, "You all right? Did you get up anything fun?" And I'd just go, "Wall tentacles," and go and make a coffee.
True Cthulian experience, yeah. I auditioned during the pandemic, but I didn't work on it till late 2022. So I didn't really have that experience. But I did do, because Neil talks about it as well, they auditioned us, I think, most of us originally for just different races and stuff. So they said it was like a list of 12, and they had slightly different names. So a mind flayer was a plane walker, and I was like, that's a mind flayer. And and I was going, oh, this is a bit close to the bone. Wizards aren't going to be happy when they find out. So yeah, there's a strange audition video of me doing about 10 different characters. You did one too, yeah. So I did 10 of them. Didn't hear back. And then it happened 2022. So I feel it was sort of post lockdown at least. But you did both, didn't you?
I did both. So the main difference is just being able to go into a studio is really nice because you get that kind of build up, like, oh, okay, we're going into work now. And then you kind of get there and you get into your ridiculous suit and get marked up, and then you kind of go into a room on your own, and there's a little window, and you go, okay, here we go, we're working now. It's not a window to outside. Oh, no. Do not think for 1 second we saw daylight. Absolutely not. No, it was an absolute pit. And then when suddenly the pandemic hit, I found myself moving from this professional room into a child's bedroom, of which it was my child's bedroom. It wasn't just any child's bedroom. Unbelievable. And
Mummy, who's that weird
the reaction was quite. I could have gone anyway.
You're gonna be sleeping in the dining room
didn't
for the
you?
next few months.
That's a different show, and so I had to create my own sort of mini sound booth, and that particular summer of COVID was unbearably hot. So I was in an attic room, inside a wardrobe, with a duvet over me, with a lamp which I think was a T-Rex. It was like, oh, I'll borrow this lamp and I'll put that in there and get my computer open and try and work out what this is. And then the main scenes I had to do were death noises. So I spent just days, and obviously, usually when you do that, people are at work. People are away. You're free to scream as much as you wish. During COVID, everyone's at home. So I was upstairs, and it was like, what am I doing today? Right, I've been hit by an arrow of ice. And then, I've been hit with an arrow of fire. Must be different. I've done okay. Maybe that's it. And then about 3 hours of this, I then have children running out going, is Daddy okay? Is Daddy okay? There's a lot of noises and screaming. It's fine. But thank you for that. Obviously,
Wellness
quite real
check.
and hit
Hello?
a nerve. It was terrifying.
Surprised you didn't get knocks on the door or
very,
something.
very, very surprised people didn't come round. And then
I have the reverse problem there, in that my neighbours are so used to it. If my partner decided to murder me, he would literally get away with it. So don't tell him.
it's all rather too quiet in there now. I see. And then on the first time back, obviously we were tested, but they then said you can't wear your outside shoes. So I was like, oh, all right, fine. So most of the next year, I did it in a pair of slippers I stole from a hotel. I thought, that'll do it. Very comfy little slip-on things. I thought, yeah, this is good character work. Gail would have definitely stolen some slippers from a hotel.
But they'd all be
like a
half
spa.
chewed.
But those aren't. Yes, exactly.
No.
No, they've got to have a bit more cush on the bottom.
Goldilocks of footwear.
I miss those days.
So if you guys could land any role in any genre, what would it be?
I thought we should open this up to a poll. I don't know how we would do it, but I think it's hard, isn't it? We don't get to choose what we play. So I'll take anything that's well written.
That's good.
I would love to do something like full-on cartoony, like Borderlands-y, Tiny Tina kind of vibe. That would be cool. And then completely reverse it to like anything Naughty Dog has ever done.
Serial killer. I would love that. Yep, serial killer it'll be. Thank you. That's it. That's the poll.
Still in the
Supposed to
slippers,
be
though, right?
acting.
Still in slippers.
Still in slippers.
Because that's my thing.
Right.
And that's
got
my undoing.
method.
It's the slippers. It's
Right.
like Nicolas Cage doing the singing in Long Legs. I'll be the slippers.
Okay.
This is the thing.
I can totally see you as like a Victorian showman kind of situation. That could be really fun, like something a bit sinister, but
Carnival.
yeah.
Kind of thing, yeah. Come inside my hall of mirrors.
That just
What
went
you see is
really
not what you
mighty
see. What you
boosh.
see is not what you see. What is your name, child? Things like that. I think it's good. I could work with this. This pretty much writes itself, surely.
I've got something cool coming, and that's all I can say. But it's very different from this. So there you go.
So I know a lot of people here are going to be interested in this. So this will be my last one before we open it up to the crowd. But what did you guys' paths into the acting industry look like?
Yeah, I've been doing this since the earth cooled. Almost true. I've been acting professionally since 1986. Yeah, overnight success, sure. No, my mum was an actress, and she started doing voiceover work when I was born, so she could stay at home a bit more. One day she couldn't get a babysitter. So she took me along to this recording session. They were like, hey, we've got a Christmas commercial. We need a cute little kid to read something. Can that read? She was like, yeah, I guess. I taught it to do that. Here. And I've kind of been doing it ever since. Like, video games came later, but yeah, I've done pretty much everything over the years. It's soul-destroying. Going from child voiceover to adult one, though, because they don't want you to be cute anymore. You've got to hit your times. Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, so I was a very shy child. So I was forced into the performing arts because that's something. Singing, dancing, acting. Acting I didn't understand because why would I? It just seemed to be lots of precocious kids yelling at each other, and I was shy. So I didn't really understand what it was about, but I did love stories, and I read a lot, and it was doing my degree in English literature when I started to go and see Shakespeare on stage. I went, oh, right, I get it now. Right, okay. That's really moved me in a way that the written word doesn't so much. So that was the interest. And I'd already done Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for Radio 4 at that point. Knew that I didn't know anything about anything. And, we talk about imposter syndrome, but I wasn't an expert in my field, so it was completely warranted. So that's when I trained. I went to Guildhall for 3 years, got out 2009, and then went straight into audio. I trained for theatre, film, and TV, and I didn't really score that. So, but what was lovely about audio is, of course, like you're not limited by this thing. And I've played the sort of roles that people don't get to play unless they're like Gary Oldman or Christian Bale. So, it's just been the most fantastic journey. And then I remembered that games get made, and I play them, but I didn't know how they got made. And then I started, throwing my hat in the ring, and that's a long story. That was like 2016, 17. I started to say, oh, actually, I'd quite like to do this. So yeah, it's been overnight success as well. Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, similar. I guess it was made. I think the route I had in was through comedy and just being an idiot. And as a kid, when you're the class clown, you think, well, I'm an idiot. So I'll just carry on being an idiot. And then someone says, you realize that can be a profession. You're like, what? No. What, you mean I can do it and people pay you for it? And so that was quite revelatory when that happened. But then you have to have craft and actually realize what you're doing. So I did a brief period when I was at drama school. I did improvised stand-up comedy. Wow, yes. That is a baptism by fire. My first gig was on a barge, moored in the Thames. This was it. It was a prison barge. It was a prison barge.
Get on the barge.
And, before we all went off to Australia, and so that was really tricky. But it really taught you discipline, and it taught you how to read an audience, and it taught you what was going well, what isn't going well, and just the feel that you get from an audience. So that was like incredibly useful. Really tough, but really useful. And then from there, went through drama school and came out. And thought, right, I'm going to be a very serious, back to serial killer again, really serious actor. And what I hadn't realized is all my sort of formative years were comedy, but watching comedy, being funny, and then the moment you give into that a bit and go, do you know what? There are a lot of worse things in life than making people laugh and bringing joy and fun and going into a room of adults and saying, so when do my trousers fall off? So we go, sorry, so then we got to get the beat. So he goes, da-dum trousers, or da-dum trousers, so they're not expecting the trousers. Things like that. You go, this is a weird way for adults to just be. But it's been a joy. And then as soon as I got into that, so many other things came from it. And then when this came up, which was very different, because it's not relying on physicality, but a different type of physicality where you have to kind of pull it back, but you have to lift it a bit. It's a totally different way, and the expectation is, oh, it's going to be like this. I think I've got this, and then you realize, wow, this is a skill. And to get it right and to get it good is a real skill and requires so many different disciplines in order to do it and to hopefully, do it well and convey the story. So that was, which has been an extraordinary journey so far.
Can I just pick on what you said about comedy? Because I've got so much respect for Bryan Cranston and Bob Odenkirk, because they've made two of the biggest, most serious TV shows and came from comedy. And I think some of the best actors out there come from comedy. Tim, I'm just.
I think they run that line of it's not all but life isn't always serious. And sometimes, like it's Breaking Bad is so Shakespearean in that sense. It will kind of take you to go, oh, okay, and then hit you with something.
I think with comedy is something in committing to it. So then the content doesn't actually matter. It's actually the commitment that matters.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I think a lot of it is timing. Like this, you see the same with musicians going into a voice booth. Same with comedians. Like they've got this intrinsic understanding of like when to hit a beat, how to drop a line. And with film or TV actors, it's kind of hit and miss. You can't tell when you put them in a voice booth whether it's going to be amazing or just like, oh no. Editors are our friends. But what I found most interesting about watching everybody in this cast is how the stuff that wasn't acting training, not classic acting training, has completely informed what their speciality is, like what makes them shine. Like for me, it's the psychology background. That's where I've always come at it from. So I'll always have this sort of left of center view of humanity. So I play a lot of very strange otherworldly beings, and that's great fun. Like comedy training, it's the stuff that nobody told us we were gonna need. I never thought when I was doing a psych degree that would be useful for acting, but apparently it is. Yeah.
And I was going to say, it's quite interesting with the beats of like comedy and horror. They work on the same beats.
You've died on stage, haven't you? So
oh my God.
You understand. It's horror. It's
Believe
for
me.
horror. Yeah.
Exactly. But it works on that same beats of like when you're getting a jump scare. It's the same as when you land a gag. It goes kind of a ba-bum, ba-bum. Are you expecting it? Bam, then suddenly the thing happens, or you hit it with a gag. And so you get a lot of comedians are very good. Like Simon Pegg is very good at horror because of that comedy training of no, the beat isn't right, it won't have the right scare, jump, or atmosphere.
David Lynch. He does both.
He does both, yes. Oh, yes. So, yeah.
All right, I think, if I'm not wrong, you guys probably have a few questions you would like to ask. So we have two microphones that are right here. If you guys would like to line up behind one of them, we will alternate back and forth. The only thing I ask beforehand is we do have some younger people in the audience, so please be mindful of that when you ask your question. But other than that, we'll go ahead and start over here.
Yes, this is a very simple two-parter. First part is, if you were to be turned into a sandwich, what kind of sandwich would it be? And the second part is, why would you choose that sandwich to be transformed into?
The question asker is dressed as Gail. Very good. And all I'm going to say is, fucking wizards, man.
I've got a lot of time and respect for this question. What sandwich would I be? Some sort of bagel. I think that would probably be quite good with everything on it. That would be good. Probably, I don't know, pastrami and cheese, something like that. You know, because it's something you could take on a picnic and it will last the day. Tuna's not going to last the day in any form of heat. There's a lot of things that are going to sweat. This is not the tuna story. Not the tuna story. Yeah. There we go. Pastrami and cheese.
Bravo for using the word sweat in a culinary. Ugh.
It's a technical thing. I've watched The Bear.
Yeah.
I know how this works.
Shout out to Dave Jones there.
Any sandwich I make will always be like 90% condiments. I'm a big fan of that, and if I can eat it without making myself just impossible to go out in public, then it's not my sandwich.
Do I have to answer this?
Only if you want to, but
No.
If a Carlac sandwich is ghost peppers on rye, there you go, easy.
Just go for
your
it.
head off.
yeah. Over here.
Yes, hi. So the game's been out for just a little over a calendar year, right? And my impression is that the cast also did not know it was going to be such a massive, massive success.
Devs did not know that
what's
either.
So what's been the good and the bad since the game has come out and turned out to be so successful for you guys?
The good is stuff like this, getting to see all of you lot. I get offered roles now by companies that maybe weren't talking to me before, which is nice. It's kind of open doors, and like as an actor, it's hard to pay your bills. Like anything that involves regular employment, that's all I want. I want to just work on the next project, do some fun stuff, and not have to worry about, like, while I've been out here, my boiler broke. And thanks to all you lovely people, I can get a new one.
Boiler chat.
Boiler chat.
Yes.
Thank you for making it so that I can have a shower at some point this month. But it really is that like practical from our side of things. I think it's easy to think it's super glamorous all the time, and it's really not.
I would agree with everything you said. I think also as well, it's hearing other people's stories about what the character is given. Different people, and they pick different things, and it's like a galaxy of stories and of things that people have got from it. And I find that just so incredibly interesting and touching and moving and humbling. And I find all the other stories that go along with our story within the game infinitely fascinating. And yeah, I get a real kick out of hearing them.
Artists as well. There are so many good artists
yes.
following this game. My
Goodness
God.
me.
That makes me so happy, because I've been playing tabletop games forever, and like getting to see art of your character that has just lived in your head, especially for somebody with aphantasia, where you don't get to see that. That's magic.
I've got very little to add. I think it's just been this great journey, and again, that getting to know you, and everyone has had a unique story. This game gives you something completely individual. I'm trying to think of bad things and I can't, so that's good, isn't it?
It is good. That's awesome.
Don't see that as a challenge, by the way.
If you ask my partner, though, he would like, can she come home sometime? That would be great. Like maybe that's the bad, like having to learn that balance.
I miss my extended family. I'll see them soon after con season.
Thank you for your question. Over here.
Really quick. What was your favorite line to say from Baldur's Gates?
Stop by my table, roll a d20. I refuse to answer this question. There's so many, the writing was just so good. I've got a permanent Rolodex, and it just stops on different lines, and yeah, I haven't got a favorite, sorry.
Well,
Is it going to be a death sound?
it's going to be ha, which you'll only get, and it's very specific, when I'm get hit by a spear of ice. Look out for that one. Something quite special coming your way. But my favourite, because it's become more than the sum of its parts ever was meant to be, is obviously stop licking the damn thing. Which, I honestly had absolutely no idea that just that, again, Wet Thursday this day, was that was gonna be the one that was gonna be etched on my grave. So.
Please
It's a thing of
actually do
beauty.
that. That would be amazing.
Thank you.
I'd love to be a little old lady just visiting a grave, and it just says, stop licking the
Stop
damn thing."
licking
And I
me.
refuse
I
to
can't read the
elaborate to
rest.
my carers. My favourite line changes day by day. Right now, it is the Dark Urge chuckle, which involves nothing more than the word chuckle on the script, but it is so sinister, and you can't write it on an autograph, which is annoying. I like the comedy ones. I like the ones where I can go full Terry Pratchett and like tongs, a wide variety of tongs. Or the sheep regards you with unsettling malice. Like, dumb stuff. I like that.
Thank you for your question. Over here.
Right. So mine is, and if you don't have an experience from theater, you can use a different one. But what was your most embarrassing or wildest theater moment? Like an example would be, mine would be shooting off of a slide in front of a bunch of second graders and catching myself in the push-up position.
I've got one.
Do it.
So I was doing, this is years ago, so I was doing pub theatre in North London, and it was opening night. Everyone was a little nervous, very exciting. And we're doing this particular scene, and it's basically a moving in scene. So there is nothing on stage apart from a sofa and two people chatting. It's blank because we're moving in. And we were doing this scene, it's all going quite well. And then I see, in the eyes of the other actor, just where you go, character, 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 no character. and you're watching this person going, you've completely forgotten, haven't you? You have completely forgotten. And they then said, oh, I'll just go and get that box from the car. Not in the script, not in the script. And they leave me on stage. There's nothing on stage
Time
apart
for
from a
some
sofa.
prop stuff.
And I can see I can see him still. Backstage, going through the script like this, and it's dark, and he can't quite see, and he's getting his phone trying to look at it. As I'm thinking, wait, what do I do now? Wandering around. And it is that fever dream that you get just before exams, you know, where you wake up, and you're stood in front of an audience, and they're looking at you, and you're looking at them, and they're expectant, and you have absolutely no idea what to say. I started just pretending to do my golf swing.
Oh,
Nice.
I think the whole thing probably lasted about 40 seconds, but it felt like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Time's different.
And the thing is, they don't know. The audience
They have
don't
no
know.
idea. They probably thought, this is very
This is a
badly
bit
directed.
avant-garde, isn't it?
What's he doing?
Nothing. Yeah,
I don't know about this. When's that guy going to come back? He was much better for the car.
On opening night, in the first scene, I twisted my ankle in a show that I was on stage for 90 minutes, in which I played a child that ran around stage. So, So I'm limping all the way through, and people going, "Is that part of the story? Like, they really look like they're in pain." And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's definitely character work. It's fine. And that was it. And I came off stage, and my foot was like a balloon. Doctor Theatre, also known as adrenaline, got me through that. But yeah, probably did a lot of damage because I had to stand on it for an hour and a half. But what was I going to do?
Oh, that is horrendous.
Yeah, that's awful.
But you know what? I have also forgotten my lines on stage, and that's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the psychological
That is
horror.
worse.
Can't heal
of
that.
going.
It's the drop of character where you go, oh, character, real person. I shouldn't be looking at a real
Ankle was
person.
too bad for me to. I could have just sat down, done the whole play like that, and the play still happens. But when you forget your lines,
I was doing an Amdram production of a farce called Don't Dress for Dinner, and the end of the first half involves like everybody who's at this weird cabin piling towards a man and tackling him to the floor. So that there's like a sofa, and I had to like vault over it and grab him, and like that we all just pile on, and that's the end of first half. And on the first night, I pushed off a little too hard off a Welsh dresser full of china. So as we pile onto this man, the whole thing comes crashing down. And as we stop, this one plate just spin, down. It got mentioned in reviews. The reviewer was very impressed by the timing and how we'd managed it. Could we do it again? No.
Thank you for that question. Over here.
Are there special differences in your approach to voiceover work in video game as opposed to like animation or other forms of voiceover?
I think any kind of voice acting is just acting for the most part, and bringing that breath into it is something that people tend to forget, like physically trying to make it sound like you would on film. It's a skill, and some people can do it and some people can't. Commercial voiceover is totally different because you're trying not to take attention away, you're illustrating something. So I always imagine myself sort of down below a cinema screen watching it and just going, look. You're supporting a product, you're trying to convey information rather than emotion. So it depends what you're trying to communicate, really. But advertising's starting to cross that boundary a bit now, and they want a more authentic sound, and then they realize maybe that doesn't sell things as well because people don't know what the product is.
All right, thank you.
I don't have much experience as a voice actor. I don't do animations, ADR, that dubbing, any of that sort of thing. But when you're purely capturing the voice, it doesn't matter what your body's doing, right? You're doing whatever it takes to get that sound out of you. And we've all seen that Robin Williams video of him, doing Aladdin, right? And we go, that's it. That's how we lose weight. we do Robin Williams acting. So for Baldur's Gate, because we did mocap, then you can't do anything physically. So the voice for me is a result of the text work, of the physical work, and then the voice comes afterwards. So I can't sort of flap around and do what I need to do to get that because it's not going to work. So it's a completely different process, and that's why we keep saying it's just acting, because we are working with a physical director for the most part, not you, dear. But,
I don't know, I sat differently for different narrations.
You did, so you had that physical memory. Yeah.
Very taxing.
I mean, I would just agree with exactly with what you've said. With advertising, it is very much. There's a certain sound as well. I think I affect a sound whenever they've asked for that, and also I've been quite proud of the fact that I can do the T's and C's at the end of things very, very quickly. CTV listings for details, all those kind of things. The end of radio
always
ads.
Makes me laugh
because they may cause constipation. Things like that.
Get us to do it, don't they? And yet they could just speed us up.
They could just speed us up. Could you say these lines incredibly quickly?
Some people don't squeeze as well as others, though. Apparently I squeeze well, which
Good
is
squeezer.
nice.
That's all training.
My
there.
personal preference is always keep away from children, because that sounds like advice.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
You told him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for doing the game. You are all incredible. Thank you. The game's awesome. And then I was curious if you were allowed any room for improvising lines, or what kind of creative input you guys had in your characters, if any at all.
I mean, I feel mine was in the interpretation. The thing with particularly AAA video games is by the time the actor received the script, that's hardwired into the game, right? That's being localized in other languages. You start messing with that, and time is money in the studio. So there wasn't much there. However, my interpretation would be what the improv was, I suppose. And sometimes I try and I just do the opposite of what I think they wanted, and a lot of the time they used it. So that's good. And so things like, oh, is that Gail's granddad? Thank you. I felt was earned because a lot of the time I was going, oh, she's not, she's it's ironic stupidity a lot of the time. But with that one, it was like, she's rolled a -1 if that's possible. It's just the dumbest thing. And it's just one of those things where I wanted to have an attitude to every line in the game that has this branching narrative, and that also has to come to the end at the same point for all these branching narratives. So, just these little moments I earned, I felt, rather than trying to impose anything. But it was one of those things where you go, and they've picked me for a reason, so let me just go wild, and if it doesn't work, we'll just do it however you want. It's a collaborative thing, really, I think is what I'm trying to say.
No, exactly the same. Yeah, the script is very, very, very set. And so it's all about interpretation. The only thing that we had slight difficulties with whilst recording was, does Gail have an Italian accent when doing the Latin spells?
I remember talking
Why do we like this? Or any... No.
We did this cod Latin.
We did. We
you
started
had to
with that.
pronounce it correctly,
That's
didn't
right.
you? That was the idea, because I was like, would Carlac know Latin?
Yeah. No.
Yes, is the answer, apparently, if she was a
But
wizard.
that took a long time of just running these, huge spell lists in Latin, and then someone going back and going, yeah, don't do the accent.
Oh, no, but Gail feels like
It was-
totally the kind of guy who would drop into the accent of something just to say a word or a place name.
Sentence.
Oh,
Sentence.
no. No.
Importante. Sorry, what was that? I don't know if that was, that kind of
Hang on,
thing.
that didn't work. Do it again.
It's like, importante. Yeah, there we go, that's it. And moving on.
For me, it was about like them giving me the freedom to put character into these narrations for whichever narration that would be that time. That all just came from playing around and them not wanting me to be traditional narrator, where you just read the words in a way that conveys the information. Like we wanted to have an opinion and emotions and intrigue, and that involves putting pauses in places that aren't in the script. So I tend to just ignore punctuation entirely and follow what my brain's doing.
Thank you so much. Right over here.
So I was wondering if you guys had a song in mind for your character to sing at karaoke.
For Carl, like Ace of Spades by Motorhead. Listen. And then if she's allowed, it'd be something like Angels by Robbie Williams. And then she starts crying and you can't get her off the microphone. It's just horrible. She's a karaoke hog.
Everybody Hurts, REM, really lift the room. Really, that's a good way to start, I think. Yeah, that's good.
A little emo wizard. For the narrator, there's too much in there. She'd sing all the songs simultaneously. And it'd be like hearing the voice of God. Your brain would just explode.
Thank you. Over here.
Yeah, so when either discovering the role of your character or prior to that, what sources of inspiration did you use to basically make the character your own?
I actively didn't want to be like wizard.
I'm so sorry.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I
You kind of nailed it.
I think I did that. Because I just thought, well, if you play like wizard, you kind of think Gandalf, and you kind of go, he's very sort of wizard. It's the wizard.
Wizard.
Mage hand.
Write this down.
So
I've never done that to describe
Universal
wizards,
mind
so I
focus.
feel like from now on, that's what I'm going to do.
Han Solo frozen in
Yeah.
carbonite, like wizard. So I really tried to make it that he's, he just happens to be a wizard. He's human, but he happens to be a wizard. Like, you're an accountant.
Yeah.
You're not like, I'm
Might
an
come
accountant.
from a family of an accountant.
Exactly. We've all been accountants. Nigel here was a wonderful accountant. And then there's Ben. Ben was, that boring.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make him as real as possible and give him the grounding of that. So that's how I sort of approached it. I thought, okay. And then the magic will come into it, and then it kind of seeps in. And it's almost more magical when it kind of seeps in and you're not, none shall pass. Although he's
For me, I'd been playing a lot of tough chicks in space up till then, so that was, it's pretty cool. But for this character, I felt, my go-tos, my Ripleys, my Sarah Connors weren't going to be quite right for Karlak because I think a lot of what they're about is survivordom and learning from the monster, and they fight it and all the rest. Whereas Karlak is the biggest person in the room, and she's not scared of anything, right? So I'm going, okay, so we're going to have to dig a bit deeper. And just for the shape at the very beginning, I thought of Ray Stevenson, the late Ray Stevenson, as Titus Pullo in Rome, very specifically. Because think about it, right? It's everything, right? He's the big guy, and he has a laugh, and loads of trauma underneath that. And that does come out, but he's a laugh, and he's a good guy until he's not, right? And it was that switch flip, and also that warmth, and that's where I began with her. And then, as we went on, I started to own it a bit more, but I don't normally do that sort of thing, but I needed an image for that, and it had to be big blokes, really big blokes, and then just do what I wanted. It was pretty cool.
When I first auditioned for the narrator, they gave me Scar from The Lion King as a touch point. So that was how we did the initial early access. It was very much that leaning back, like, oh, you messed up. Oh, no. And as we carried on with that, we realized that maybe for a game of this length, doming the audience that solidly might be exhausting.
And yet they're still playing hundreds of hours.
Weird.
Hundreds
Almost
of hours.
like there's a word for people who enjoy that. So yeah, we gave it different varieties, and not like the tadpole lines stayed quite like that because we in D&D and any kind of tabletop, it sucks to have your ability to make decisions taken away from you. Like DMs who do that, please stop. So when those moments happened in the game, we wanted it to be very obvious to the player, to be like, we're using a slightly different tone. We are manipulating you. We know it sucks. Just lean into it. It'll be over in a minute. So yeah, that's how that started. And then we just expanded from there and went a little bit crazy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over here.
Hello, love the game. My question is, since the game is so complicated and so complex, there's so many branching paths, inevitably there's a ton of lines that lots of people won't get to hear. Is there a line that you really wish the community would be able to hear more often that's maybe tucked away in a secret ending or hidden behind something else?
Yes.
And yes.
There is one scene, if you go to the brothel, that I've only ever seen a couple of people play the option where you have really mediocre sex. And it is so good. It's my favorite one because the person you're with is so into it because nobody asks for that. So to them, it's the kinkiest thing in the world. They're like, we are going to have the most boring sex. We're going to have the lights off. We're not going to make eye contact. It's just going to be limp hand contact and just not enjoy this. And they love it. It's very funny.
No idea. No idea. Getting hit with ice arrows. Maybe look out for that one. It's some of my best work during COVID, I think.
I've got something, but it's a spoiler, so I can't say. Don't kill Gortash. Take him to the Netherbrain with Karlak. See what happens. It's one line, and it was that. Well, if you've heard the monologue, it's that in one line, and it was amazing. And I'm not going to do it because it's a spoiler.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right over here.
Hello. It's kind of nice that the karaoke question was brought up because now you're kind of thinking about it. But since we don't have any bard companions, at least not yet, I was wondering who you all think the best singer at camp is.
I would absolutely love it if this was Lae'zel's special secret skill. And when she's on her own, if you leave her in camp, she's just, without anyone knowing, just the most amazing, like, operatic singer, switching, like the diva from Fifth Element, you know? And then anytime anyone shows up, she's like, what?
I would assume that Astarion thinks he can sing really well. Like, everybody stop, listen. Like Stewie.
Twinkle, twinkle.
Look at this. Oh my God, it's amazing. And then, but then do the entire song. I'm going to sing American Pie all 12 minutes. Please don't. Oh God, please don't do that.
He'd be the kind of guy that would bring a guitar out around the campfire, right?
Oh, yeah. Who'd like to sing? Nope, thank you. That's fine.
Everybody loves Wonderwall.
I was going to say that I think it's Gail with the acoustic guitar, except he's really good. And then you cry and then you get a bit confused about your feelings for Gail.
Wake up the next morning, like, how did this happen? I don't.
Just talking about magic, and then this happened.
Speciality, singing the soundtrack of The Breakfast Club. That would be something.
It'd be musicals, wouldn't it? I can see Gail being into musicals.
Wicked.
Yes.
We'll do Wicked.
Popular.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just thinking about that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we're going to run out of time here soon. We'll be able to get one more on each side. That's all we're going to have time for, unfortunately. But please go right ahead.
If you could take your character or a different character and just plop them into a scenario, just like explore their headspace and their reaction, what kind of scenario would you want to put them in?
I saw the rather excellent Monkey Man the other day, and I'd like to put Karlak in there because he needs the help. Like, I just watched Dev Patel suffer for 2 hours. It's great. He wrote it, directed it. It's fantastic. I mean, it really is bloody good. But I felt he needed some muscle with him, and Karlak would totally have his back. Like, revenge thriller action movie? Are you kidding me? That would have been her. Yeah.
I would like to take Gail to therapy.
that.
Is that a euphemism?
No.
Right, okay, right.
No, I think
Quite literally,
it can
I will
just
take
be
it
him
as
and me. We can just sit down and talk about why you feel like you need to try so hard. Who taught you that?
Wow.
You don't need to.
Oh.
You're enough.
What?
You are enough, Gail.
Well, Gail Nuff.
I am Gail Alf.
Oh, please make that t-shirt.
I think Gail, the scenario Gail would, I think, adore would be some sort of mid-period Brat Pack film. Sort of like
the
St.
early
Elmo's
80s.
Fire, that
Okay.
kind of thing. 16 Candles.
What do you look like?
Just running. Oh, we have a beautiful head of hair.
Oh, yeah, the proper 80s quiff.
Proper
Yeah.
running in, going, you know, you got to save her. That kind of thing. Quickly, get to the mall.
He'd be part of the book club, but he wouldn't be so nerdy that he'd be bullied.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I imagine. Yeah.
He'd just be like Amelia Estevez in that sense.
Okay, very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our last
Hey,
one.
soldier. You look great, by the way. Thank you for your effort. I know that's a hard costume to pull off.
Yeah, it was a struggle. Sorry, I'm nervous. My question is, and this could be for every character or just one, what do you think each party member's greatest non-physical strength is?
I think Karlak knows how to brew beer. She just doesn't talk about it, but that's like, yeah. If you asked her, she'd tell you, but she doesn't offer that freely.
Shadowheart gives off like Green Witch vibes. Like she'd be able to save my plants, is what I'm saying.
Gardening. I think Gail would definitely have like some sort of like poison garden. But no, don't come in, don't come in. What are you doing with all that henbane? Never you mind.
Just a little something I'm
Just a little
working on.
something. Tea? No. Absolutely not from you. Yeah, something like that, I think.
I would love to see like Will as a cook or something. He seems like the sort of person who'd be very nurturing and like, I made you this is okay. Like, that's a 3-course banquet. What is?
I've tried really hard.
Yeah, it seems like the kind of romance
like
you'd
it.
be into. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who asked questions. Before we get out of here, I think we're going to get a picture. Yeah.
I was.
We even knew it.
Wow, yeah, that was quick.
That's gonna be fun.
That's the Christmas
Fine as it
jigsaw
is.
just there.
That's how I want all our photos from now on. Just
I think we've bullied her into coming back.
Oh no! I'm sorry. Can we have one of each?
I'm not surprised you want to do it
Can we
again.
do one while we're ready?
How about we get one with the audience in the background? Let's do one with them cheering. You guys want to cheer, right, for a picture? I think so. Let's hear it one more time for our Baldurs 3 guests. Thank you so much. You can catch them for autographs and photos and all that good stuff right outside these doors here at, some times. I don't know, they're posted. Thank you so much.
Thank you.